The trap had been set, and now it was finally being sprung. Garden knew that he had to draw the line. Things were only going to get worse. He had to make the call. He would pull out his savings to show Joyce and explain to her that they needed to leave the town. It would be harder to find a way to make the kids understand, though. As he lifted the mattress, Garden's eyes widened with horror. He threw the mattress from the frame and flipped all the sheets, but the money was nowhere to be found. His heart raced in a mad panic, adrenaline pumping through his veins. His entire savings were gone. He turned the room upside down in case Joyce had found it and moved it, but she assured him that she knew nothing of it when she came in to see what he was doing. It was gone. All that Garden could find was a torn patch of fabric stuck to the bed. When Dan answered a knock at his door just a few minutes later, he found that he had a new enemy. Dan shouted curses at him as he stormed into the house. Dan, greatly startled, jumped out of his way. "Garden, what the hell is wrong with you?" "What the hell is wrong with you?" Garden returned furiously. "What would possess you to do something like this? I trusted you." "What are you talking about? Where is it?" "Where is what?" "Your shirt, the one with the rip." "I'll be honest, a lot of them have rips." Garden threw open Dan's bedroom door and began digging through his drawers. "Hey, Garden, what are you—" Garden found the shirt and held up the torn piece of fabric he had found. They were the same. Dan fell silent, mostly because he was worried that Garden was having some kind of mental breakdown. "I found this in my house," Garden breathed. "It was where I should have found all the money I had been saving. The money I had only told you about." Dan's stomach churned as he realized what was happening. "Garden," he chuckled weakly, "you don't really believe that I'd—" He couldn't even bring himself to finish his sentence. "The truth is, I don't know what to believe anymore," Garden admitted with a sigh. "This has all been too much. When did things get so difficult?" "I didn't steal from you," said Dan. Garden just glanced down at the shirt in his hand. "Garden, this is insane!" Dan snapped. "We've been friends for years. You know I wouldn't do this to you." "And I knew that Isaiah was just an innocent boy," Garden retorted. "I was proven wrong there." "I don't have to take this," Dan growled. "Get out of my house." "Where did you put it?" "I told you I don't have it. Now leave." "Dan?" Both men froze at the sound of Jeremy's voice. "Dan, why is your door open?" Dan turned but sensed Garden approach as he did. He peered back over at the knife Garden had poised at his throat. "Tell me where it is," he hissed so Jeremy wouldn't hear him. "I don't have it," Dan whispered. Of course, Jeremy quickly found them and immediately attempted to fix the situation. "Garden, what are you doing?" he squawked in concern. "Put that away before you hurt somebody." "You took everything I have, Jeremy," Garden barked with flames dancing in his eyes. "I have nothing left." "What are you talking about?" "He thinks I robbed him," Dan divulged. "What?" "He was the only person who knew where I kept that money," Garden continued. "Let's face it, this whole place has gone to hell. First Red vanishes, and now Isaiah's gone." Jeremy jolted. "Well," Dan spat snarkily, "did it occur to you that maybe it was Isaiah?" It had been a little over 2 weeks since Isaiah had left the town. The wound was still fresh in Jeremy's heart, and the mere utterance of another accusation against his brother made him sick. He still didn't want to hear things like that, and it was in this moment of despair that someone decided to ease his suffering. Jeremy's head throbbed tortuously to the point where he could no longer see. Everything went black, and he couldn't hear the worried voices of his friends as his consciousness slipped away. His body moved on its own, clumsy like a marionette being guided by a small child. He snatched the knife from Garden and fell to his knees. "Jeremy, snap out of it!" Garden fretted. Jeremy just moaned painfully and began scratching marks on the wooden floor. Dan instinctively moved to restrain him, but Garden stopped him. "Wait," he protested. "He's writing something." Dan is... Dan's heart leapt into his throat. Was the Potato Lord speaking through Jeremy? He often had, but it had never been so traumatic for Jeremy before. Then again, he had never been so upset about these messages before. Dan is a traitor. Garden turned to Dan, but Dan couldn't bring himself to make eye contact. Jeremy was suddenly released from his state of possession and took notice of the loose floorboards upon which he had been engraving the accusing words. He lifted it easily and found the envelope with Garden's savings. Dan had no way of defending himself. He honestly didn't know how that had gotten there, but he knew that there was no use in saying that. He wouldn't have believed it if he were in Garden's shoes. Garden's dangerous fury seemed to have subsided, but the blank and firm expression he wore in its place only seemed worse. "I'll give you a 30-second head start," he offered. "After that, if I see you, I swear I'll kill you." He was telling the truth. Dan didn't doubt that. Without a word, he left the house. "What next?" Jeremy whimpered, still on the floor. "Will I lose you?" At those words, Garden returned to the caring man he really was, and reached out to comfort his friend, but Jeremy pulled away. "I want to be alone for now," he said simply. Garden quietly made his exit and decided that he wouldn't go after Dan. Jeremy needed some time to settle down, but he would pick himself up again. If this were all a test, he would pass. He wouldn't let the sacrifices he was making go to waste. Dan left the town behind. He didn't stop until it had completely left his sight. When he could no longer see all that he had ever known, he stopped and screamed a curse with all of his might. It was all over. He had been sure to do everything that was asked of him and more, but it still wasn't enough. "My offer still stands," whispered the voice of the Carrot Goddess. "I told you so," Dan chortled. "That's what you're thinking, isn't it? It was just like you said. In an instant they turned on me." The Carrot Goddess didn't speak. She didn't need to say anything. "Fine," Dan relented. "I'll do whatever you say. What else could possibly go wrong? Just tell me where to go." In the cavern where Isaiah had now made his home, the Carrot Goddess opened her eyes. Isaiah was sitting at the table, casually chewing on a carrot and watching her. The Carrot Goddess almost seemed surprised to see him. "Were you sleeping sitting up?" Isaiah inquired. "You've been looking really tired lately." "I am here to care for you, not the other way around. You don't need to worry about me." "It seems lonely doing it that way," Isaiah commented. "Dan is coming here." Isaiah jumped out of his seat. "Now?" he questioned. "Should we prepare to fight?" "That won't be necessary. He has been cast out by his own people and is turning to carrots." "Oh, okay." "Okay?" the Carrot Goddess echoed in confusion. "The man who tried to kill you is coming here, and you aren't concerned for your own life?" "That's your job," Isaiah smiled. "You said so yourself." Isaiah had changed greatly over such a short amount of time. He was making his own decisions and being there of his own free will without any guidance from his brother, but he felt like he was being protected by someone he could really trust. He felt like he had grown, and he wondered if Dan would feel the same way upon meeting the Carrot Goddess.